I'm like, oh boy, here I go, here I go, here it comes, here it comes, here comes the shark. That could have been the end. This adventure takes place at the very beginning of my scuba diving career, not long after I had been certified. Yeah! In fact, the biggest fish that I'd ever swam with prior to this dive was a giant catfish. I'm not even kidding. There's a hot dog eating catfish in a farm pond in Columbus, Ohio, and that was the biggest creature that I had gone scuba diving with at this point. But we had gotten into scuba diving intentionally to be underwater videographers, at least I had. After about 3 years in creating Brave Wilderness, we wanted to start making ocean expedition adventures. We all got scuba certified. Well, I should say Coyote and I got certified, and then Mario got certified right before this trip, actually. But I was not prepared for what I was about to have to do under the waves at a famous location called Tiger Beach. It's probably the world's most famous dive site for tiger sharks. But you're not just gonna be diving with tiger sharks at Tiger Beach. You can dive with 5 different species of really good sized shark at the same time. And I can remember we had to go overnight from Florida to West End, Bahamas, and that night I did not sleep at all. I can't speak for Mario and Coyote, but I was absolutely pumped. However, that enthusiasm quickly turned to some adrenaline and nerves as soon as I looked over the edge of a sea full of sharks. I mean, we're talking like the water was almost boiling with sharks swimming around. You have to essentially drop through a layer of frenzied lemon sharks to get down to where the tiger sharks are at the bottom. For a first-time shark diver, this is about as extreme as it could get. In fact, thinking back on it, I can't really recall a more extreme dive experience than this, especially for where I was at in my dive career. There's a lot that can go wrong. Everything that happens down there when you're on a shark dive is very intentional, very thoughtful, and very specific. Otherwise, you will put yourself in a situation where you're gonna get bit. And getting bit, I don't care how close you are to land, I don't care who the medics are on the boat, I don't care how good your satellite phone is with the emergency helicopter button. If you get bit by a tiger shark out at sea, your chances of survival are very, very low. Well, with every shark dive comes the moment where you actually have to dive in with the sharks. That moment is right now. Oh boy. When you enter that water, I'll never forget what I saw. My eyes opened up and I just see sharks, fins, teeth, shadows all over. That was probably the most scared I've ever been on a scuba dive ever. As soon as you get through that first layer of lemon sharks, you are literally in an aquarium full of giant lethal killing machines. Talking hammerhead sharks, blacktip reef sharks, of course the nurse sharks, and then yes, the sharks we were there to film. Those tiger sharks, man, when you see one of those things for the first time, whew, I can still put myself back there, like your hair stands up underwater. What I didn't plan for on this dive was the physicality of diving with a giant shark like a tiger shark. When you dive with a blacktip reef shark or nurse sharks or smaller species that are more slender, they generally don't make contact. They're very risk adverse. You're about the same size as they are. Those blacktips really don't come in to a front-facing diver and touch you. You don't have to push them off. But tiger sharks, they're huge. I mean, these are like 1,000-pound sharks. They have so much momentum as they're coming in for a feed and passing through that if you're in the line of fire, you have to literally put your hands on them and move them out of the way. But let me tell you, you got a big tiger shark barreling down on you that you have to move. That's a holy moment if I've ever had one. And they did coach us on how to do it. You put your hands on top and move them down, and you push your body above the teeth. You don't want to go under the shark where those teeth are. But I'll never forget the first time it happened to me. Sharks barreling down, and it almost seemed like a full minute of it barreling down on me. I'm like, oh boy, here I go, here I go, here it comes, here it comes, here comes the shark. Hands on the shark, and then I start to move backwards. I was not ready to have to use all of my strength to push it down and out of the way. And then that microsecond of being pushed backwards, that is terrifying. All of a sudden you're moving a little bit backwards and I'm going the wrong way. So I'm like, whoa, thrust myself up and push down as hard as possible. Those sharks are units, man. They are giant. I had to do it 2 or 3 more times on this particular trip. I got better at it, but there's no real amount of coaching that could prepare you for having to ever do that. And this is the part of the story where we get into the near tragic event. And it had to do with when Coyote had to push his first tiger shark off of him. It was almost the end of our friend Coyote. This moment captured on camera is something that is burned into my brain. I don't even need to see a replay of it. I remember the tiger shark coming in for him. I'm like, okay, he's now gonna have his first chance to push off of the shark. And unfortunately, instead of the shark going down, the shark started moving up. And I think at that moment, he really couldn't get his hands high enough, and he pushed his hands up slightly underneath the nose of the shark. And when you do that, you trigger a reaction of the shark to drop its mouth. So when he put his hands there, all I saw was the mouth go, whoa. I had already felt the force of these sharks coming in and how much strength was required to push it away. And had that shark continued its path, I'm not sure there would be many more adventures with our friend Coyote. That could have been the end. Luckily for him, for whatever reason, this shark turned away. But I cannot stress enough how close he was in that moment to going lights out. That was about as near shark bite as I have ever witnessed. We all got back to the surface that day to talk about it. Let's just put it this way. It was awesome, but that was gnarly. But it was the beginning of the Blue Wilderness brand, the beginning of this channel that you're watching right now, my channel. This was the very first adventure that sparked it all off. You see me wearing the Blue Wilderness hat today. I want to give one of you watching this video right now this hat. The way that you can enter to win this hat is by clicking the link in the description, becomingbrave.co.co, and sign up for the email list. We're gonna pick someone at random who signs up today, the launch day, to give this hat to. It's literally the only way that you could still get an original Blue Wilderness hat. Click the link in the description, sign up for the becomingbrave.co email list, and you're gonna learn a little bit more about an awesome adventure that we're having this summer in person. Your very first opportunity to be in a Brave Wilderness video if you join me and the team out in Zion National Park this September at becomingbrave.co. Check it out. I hope some of you sign up and join, but at the very least, I'm excited for one of you to take this hat home. That's gonna do it for us today. I'm Mark Vins. Be brave. Keep your hands away from sharks. We'll see you on the next adventure.